everybody? It's Britton back here again for Brit and Jake Go to the Movie. Brit and Jake Go to the Movies. Hold on real quick. I'm Britton.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're talking about a mutual favorite of ours.
Oh, yes.
Indeed. We're going to be talking about Collateral from Michael Mann of Heat fame and Last of the Mohicans fame, with Tom Cruise and Cameron Holt. I mean Jamie Foxx. Oh man! This is I guess this is an unofficial segment called Mutual Favorites, where we talk about a mutual favorite movie of ours. Jacob, what do you think of Collateral?
One of the most suspenseful and compelling noir thrillers I've ever seen.
Oh, I agree. I think it's a very good movie. I would even dare to say it's Michael Mann's last really great film. I love Heat. I love Last of the Mohicans. The Insider I like. I do think it's a little Oscar baity, but I mean it's a good movie nonetheless. Collateral, though, I think is his last really great one. Because the films he made after that just aren't up to date. I mean, Public Enemies was pretty good, but Black Hat, very bad movie. Or at least I think so.
I've not seen that one yet.
You haven't seen that one? I would not recommend it. It wasn't very good for me.
But Collateral, this is the first time I was introduced to Michael Mann as a director, so I'm going to be a bit biased when I say it's my personal favorite Michael Mann film. Yes, even over Heat. And I love Heat, but Collateral holds a special place in my heart.
I mean, it's hard for me, because, I love Heat. I think Heat is the greatest heist film of all time. At least modern heist film. I know there's a lot of people who'd be like, well, what about Reservoir Dogs, or, The Killing, which I haven't seen yet. Those are great. Actually, I haven't seen The Killing, but I have seen Reservoir Dogs, and that is a great movie. But I don't know, Heat just, scratches that itch for me. But you know what else scratches the itch for me? Collateral. This is a really great film, I gotta say. Very taut, surprisingly. Michael Mann tends to make a lot of epic movies. Heat, Last of the Mohicans. I haven't seen Thief. But this is probably his most intimate film, I'd say.
Oh, I agree, and I also think this is a very contained movie, too.
Oh yes, it's a very taut movie. It has strong powerhouse performances from both Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. He really gets to let himself go in this movie. He's a hitman called Vincent. This is actually one of my favorite Tom Cruise performances, and one of the ones I like to point to people who are like, oh, he's just that cheesy guy in Top Gun and the Mission Impossible movies. And I'm like, well, no. I think of him as Vincent from Collateral.
Yes, when it comes to Tom Cruise, I'm not going to bring up his whole Scientology crap here because I don't give a shit about that. I just care if he's if you do your job, if you're a great actor, then I don't care about your personal stuff, whether I agree or disagree with them. But when it comes to this film, I still think this is his best performance. For me, Collateral and Edge of Tomorrow are his top two best performances for me. Because Tom Cruise, he plays a villain in this, and he rarely ever plays a villain. He usually plays the super badass, cool guy, like in the Mission Impossible films, for example. But no, he plays a villain in this, and he is magnificent in this.
Yep.
And also, our buddy Cameron Holden is also great in this.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched this the other night. And I was watching it, and I was looking at Jamie Foxx, and I texted Jacob, I'm like, dude, this man looks like Cameron in this film. If Cameron just grew up and decided to become a taxi driver, he looks just like him. There's a photo of him with, a fake mustache. That's what I thought of when I thought of Jamie Foxx in this film. I almost texted him. I'm like, yo, dude, I'm watching this movie. Jamie Foxx kind of looks like you.
Yeah, you know what? Since he looks so much like Cameron, I'm just going to refer to him as Cameron. I don't care. No, I'm not going to do that. Jamie Foxx it is. But Cameron, too.
Yeah, it's funny, though. I texted Jacob. I'm like, yo, this dude looks like Cameron. He's like, yo, he kind of does. I thought that when I first saw this movie.
Yeah, so, I wanted to text Cameron, but I wasn't too sure how he would respond.
He probably would laugh, knowing him very well. But, yeah, I mean, but seriously, this is a great movie. Like, it's hard for me, because I love Heat. Great movie. That's another film I'd love to talk about someday. And, I knew Collateral was always going to be one of those movies that me and Jacob would talk about on here. I just didn't know when, and I just decided, you know what? I'll admit, I kind of pulled this one out of my ass, because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I was really leaning on the Prestige, but you know what? I wanted to talk about Collateral for a while. I think Collateral is a great movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to talk about this film.
This one and, like, Heat are very tied for me. I like Heat a little more, but Collateral, I really like too. This is actually one of those movies I learned about from Chris Stuckman. It's like a little thing I've got called the films that Chris Stuckman introduced me to that I love now, like Drive, or Under the Skin, or Prisoners, or, what's another one? Ghost in the Shell as well. He also introduced me to that movie. I really, really like Ghost in the Shell. What are some other movies that Collateral. Well, there's also Collateral. When I saw his review, it inspired me to seek out and watch Collateral, and I loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal movie.
Oh, yeah, like, such a taunt and suspenseful movie.
Oh, my God.
Around. Like, it's non-stop suspense.
Yeah, I actually rewatched this on Wednesday, as Jacob can attest to, because I was texting him about it. And I'm like, God damn, this movie's suspenseful. Holy shit, I forgot how suspenseful this movie was.
Oh, yeah. It is. As I said, a walking ball of suspense.
Oh, my God. I mean, this film just nails maximum claustrophobia, maximum suspense, and also surprisingly deft characterization in this film, particularly with Jamie Foxx's character and Tom Cruise's character, Max and Vincent, respectively.
Oh, yes. A lot of depth with both of them that I can't wait to get into when we get into this film. Absolutely.
A fun thing about Michael Mann is that he really likes... in this, I actually think this film is very similar to Heat in a certain way, which is a common humanity between two very different people that you wouldn't expect to find a kind of kinship with. You see it in Heat, obviously, with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro's characters, but you also see it in this as well, which I much like Heat, I think is the most interesting part of the movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I rewatched it and I texted him. I'm like, yep, Collateral still rules. This is still a freaking awesome movie.
Hell yeah, it is.
Oh my God, it's great. I love this film. And it's also great to see Tom Cruise as a villain. You could say he was a villain in Interview with the Vampire, which is an underrated movie, by the way. And, you could also say he was a villain in Tropic Thunder, which, oh man, that's another one I'd love to talk about someday.
Yeah, that movie rules.
Oh my God, I love it. Gotta get my parents on that one. Just as like a quick, hey, what'd you think of this? Oh God, he was one of my favorite parts in Tropic Thunder too. He was just like, wow, I did not know Tom Cruise had comedic chops like that, but he was, he's good.
Oh yeah. Tom Cruise, he's actually, when he, is really, committed, to, being very diverse, he's actually a very versatile actor when he, really gives it his all. Like, Collateral, he's playing a villain. In Edge of Tomorrow, he plays a coward. Tropic Thunder, he definitely showed his comedic chops, as you said. I mean, like, honestly, say what you want about him, but the man can do anything.
Oh man, I give Tom Cruise some flack because he's kind of weird in real life, but I mean, is this our first Tom Cruise movie, by the way, that we're doing?
I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right. This is a great one to start out with.
No, wait, Minority Report was our first one.
Oh yes, Minority Report. Fucking, how did I forget about Minority Report?
I forgot about it too.
Oh my god. Guess that wasn't a very good one. Guess we forgot about it.
Yeah.
No, but this is actually one of my favorite performances from him. To my point, say what you will about Tom Cruise, but no one in Hollywood works as hard as this guy does to show the audience a good time. And that's really what I respect about Tom Cruise.
Oh, absolutely. Like, not only is he a great actor, and he's still doing his own stunts, and the man's almost 60. Like,
yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Commitment, it's insane. Like, once again, say what you want about him, love him or hate him, but you gotta give him mad props for, like the man, as I said, he can do anything, and he, yeah, that's all I can say.
That's all I can really say, yeah. Also, Jamie Foxx in this movie is really good too. You know, he's so instantly likable, and this is I like to say this is the better version of what he was trying to do with Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, as I alluded to in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video we did a while back.
Yeah, because I would say they should have gone with this like type of Max Dillon with it, because he actually looks like a cool, very timid, nerdy-looking guy. Unlike in that one where he had a comb over. But I digress.
I don't want to start ranting about Amazing Spider-Man 2 again.
Hell no.
I mean, you know, I love Jamie Foxx and Ray. I think that's a phenomenal performance, and I love Ray. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen Ray, but I mean, if we ever do talk about Ray, we're getting Carlton on because he loves that movie.
Oh yeah, fantastic movie.
Oh,
Jamie Foxx, like another great actor who I actually think is underrated.
Oh man, he's unbelievable. I mean, we've talked about him before in Django. We got angry about Amazing Spider-Man 2. Though again, we've maintained we don't like criticizing actors on here. We tend to blame it mostly on either bad direction or bad studio stuff. Really, kind of give my blurb thoughts. I love this movie. I love how grainy it looks. It doesn't look quite as sleek as some of his other movies, like, say, Heat, for example, or even Last of the Mohicans to that point. I love just the grittiness of it. I mean, I know that's kind of a, grim and gritty, but no, this film looks like, it's kind of like Minority Report, going back to our other Tom Cruise review. I like the kind of grainy look that this movie gets. It kind of feels nasty, kind of feels mean, but I want to get more into that as we get into this movie.
Yeah, it's a very stylish film, and I love film grain, and this film uses it really well.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, can I just say it again? This is probably, like, top 5 Tom Cruise performances for me.
Oh, yeah. As I said, it's my favorite performance from his. And Tom Cruise, phenomenal in this, and Cameron Holden is super great in this.
Oh, yes, they both are. Man. Yeah, Jamie Foxx is in it, and he's... I wish they'd have used this as a roadmap in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, you can play a loser. Let's just kind of pull from that a little bit and try to do our own thing with that. But I digress. So let's get into this. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, let's dive deep into this puppy.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So, We begin with a montage of two guys. We see a gray-haired, very slick back, kind of cool-looking chap. We end up learning that the guy's name is Vincent. And we see him kind of arriving at Los Angeles from the airport. And he's kind of walking around. He's got his shades and he's got a silver suit. He's basically like silver is his color, basically.
Oh yeah.
Like he has silver hair, which it's kind of funny to me that it's like Tom Cruise. He's he has like dark hair usually, but I guess he must have painted or I guess he must have sprayed like gray hair dye on there, something.
Yeah. Like if Silver Surfer was made in human form, here you go.
Yeah. And we get to see him. He ends up running into Jason Statham. Okay, where'd he come from? Hello there.
Like, hey, I didn't know you were in this movie.
Yeah, I totally forgot he was in this for like 5 minutes, and he's like, sorry, mate. Apparently, that's like his character from The Transporter, according to Wikipedia, which of course is a very reliable source of information. But anyways, I digress. I really like in this opening scene how we get to know these two characters very quickly.
Oh yes.
You see Vincent. He's very cool, professional. Doesn't really speak if he has to. And one of the themes I picked up on again when I watched this movie again is chance and coincidence. And I think it's used to really clever effect in this movie. What do you think, Jacob?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That I didn't pick up on when I first saw it, but after watching it more times, I immediately was like, oh, okay. Clever.
But he runs into Jason Statham, and they end up picking up suitcases, and they end up walking off, and Tom Cruise just does his Tom Cruise thing. I don't know. I mean, I gotta say, though, all Tom Cruise jokes aside, Tom Cruise is amazing in this movie.
Oh, yeah, he is phenomenal. Without a doubt, one of his best performances, because this is the performance that you wouldn't imagine him taking on. This is sort of him stepping out of his comfort zone, because he plays a villain in this, and he is awesome.
Oh man, he just chews that scenery up. He's so convincing as this very cold and calculating guy, but you almost feel pity for him as the movie goes along, because you kind of realize that that he doesn't really have much in his life, really. It's kind of like I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just a hitman, and with Tom Cruise playing him, he's also likable.
Oh, yeah. And as Chris Stuckman said, like, as I was watching this movie, it was almost like it was a prediction from him. You almost get interested, and they're like, dang, like, what do these guys do in their, like, downtime? Like, I want to see what they do when they're not, in this situation here.
Yeah. Like, are you just a hitman nonstop, or do you have a side life, or are you just a nobody? Yeah.
Indeed. And we end up meeting Max, and we kind of get to know him, and Jamie Foxx, again, is great in this as well.
Oh, yeah, Jamie Foxx does a great job playing this timid and kind of a nerdy-ish guy who's just a taxi driver who just ended up dealing with this hitman and basically being held hostage, doing what he does. And Jamie Foxx did a great job in this.
I mean, I will say, I like that. I don't know if I'd say he's nerdy. Well, maybe. He has like an encyclopedic.
I can't think of any other word.
one of his things is that he like really knows L.A. like the back of his hand. Like he's just like he's always giving out like tips to people like, yo, we should go this way, and he's all like, and like, well, Jada Pinkett Smith is in this for a couple of minutes, not really a couple of minutes. Anyway, we get to see him, we get to see how he is, and we get to just see this is a guy who. I really like how this film introduces its characters without really saying a word. You get to know them without saying a word. You're introduced to them, cinematically.
Yes, it's not like a narration where it's like, Vincent, this expert hitman, or Jamie, or Max, this taxi driver. Nothing like that.
No, none of that. Though it would have been, that would have taken me out of the movie if it's been like, one hitman is gonna meet a taxi driver. And then they're not just gonna assassinate those targets. They're gonna fucking nuke them. Okay, I digress. That wrong movie. We meet Max and we figure out that he's this guy who kind of, it's hard to say. He's a guy who, he's a taxi driver, really. We get to know that he knows New York, or not New York, why did I fucking say it? He knows LA like it's the back of his hand, but you also get the sense that he wants more. Like, you see from his little picture he has of an island, he really likes, he likes doing what he does, but he also wants more out of his life than what he has now. He just hasn't found the strength within himself to take those steps yet.
Right, which is what most of us feel, how most of us feel, and immediately that makes him a relatable character.
Yeah, exactly, and I love how instantly likable Jamie Foxx makes him. That's one of the things I really like about Jamie Foxx. He can pretty easily make characters likable. Even in like Baby Driver, where he plays like the most unlikable guy, like he somehow manages to like find a way to make him likable in a way.
Oh yeah, I mean Jamie Foxx in general is just a very charismatic guy.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And he also ends up meeting while he's doing a drive-through one day. We get to see a montage of him driving through. He sees some couples arguing, whatnot, and he just pulls down his thing to see the picture of the island. And then a federal prosecutor by the name of Annie Farrell, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, or is it Plinkett? Pinkett. Okay, it is not. I'm thinking of the Red Letter Media guy. That's Plinkett. Jada Pinkett Smith. I gotta say, I think Jada Pinkett Smith's kind of weird in real life, but again, she's very good in this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean honestly, I forgot she was in this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but watching, I was like, oh, that's Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, I mean, she's really good. I really love the scene where she and Max hang out and they get to know each other, and I just love the chemistry there.
Oh yeah, love their chemistry.
Yeah, it's very well done. He's all like, I know a way where we can get there faster. And she's all like, really? Like, okay, I'll bet you $5 on it. He's like, all right, I'll take that bet.
Yeah, it's actually pretty adorable, their relationship.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice, and Max is like, yo, like, I can fuck with this, and he ends up winning. But, one that you pick up really quickly on Max is that he's really good at reading people.
Oh, yes, and that's a great strength, especially with being a taxi driver.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, that's one of the commonalities you see later when he meets Vincent. They're both very good at reading people and, how they tick.
Indeed.
Oh, hello, kitty cat. Let me just take you down here. Hello. Anyway, they kind of chat for a bit, and he ends up giving her his island photo, because, she's stressed out, she's working on a case. And, she's working on this really big case. She doesn't tell Max what it is. But but Max is like, you know, you might need a vacation. You know what? And he gets like his little thing, and he ends up giving it to her. And he's like, you know what? I think you'll need this more than I do, because you know you seem a lot busier than I am. She appreciates the option. She initially is like, nah, that's yours. And oh yeah, he does explain what the island thing is. It's basically like when he gets stressed out, he just likes to look at it. It makes him feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, again, you're just kind of like, damn, that's kind of sad.
It is sad.
Yeah, but he gives it to her, and she's like, and then she kind of thinks for a minute. She knocks on his window and gives him her business card, basically. She's like, hey, if you need to, like, investigate anything, you can call me on the phone. He's like, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, thanks. All right. And he's just, like, sitting there, and he's, like, really proud of himself. On the meanwhile, Vincent has, or Tom Cruise / Vincent. Vincent has kind of gotten his place at the apartment where she's staying at, and basically he was basically scoping the place when he meets Max, and he ends up going outside. He's kind of scoping the place where Farrell or Annie is, and he ends up Tom Cruise. You know, it's weird because my uncle kind of sounds like Tom Cruise. It's really weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's weird. He kind of looks like him, and he kind of sounds like him.
Your own personal Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. Like, I've never really mentioned it to him, but it's like, I don't know. It's just funny. I always think of my uncle when I think of Tom Cruise. So, like, oh, Lord. Max is kind of distracted by the card, and he, like, knocks on the window, but Max doesn't hear him at first. But then Max, unfortunately, decides to be like, hey, man, sorry I didn't hear you. Come over here. And, Max ends up taking Vincent. Which, kind of plays into the chance theme a little bit, because, like, oh boy, it just happened that Vincent took the cab with Max.
Like, what a coincidence.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. And Tom Cruise even mentions that, or Vincent even mentions this as he enters the car, and which I think is one of the kind of grand ironies is Vincent kind of rants a little bit how he really hates Los Angeles. Like he's just like everyone's so disconnected from each other, and you know that some guy died on a monorail one day, and took like 6 hours for somebody to even notice that he was dead. And which, by the way, great foreshadowing to later.
Oh yes.
But you know, really, the irony of that is that Vincent is kind of disconnected from other people because of what he does. Just kind of his, you know, just the way he acts. You know, he's super cool and calm, and well, I wouldn't say he's calm, but he's kind of cold. He's a very cold person.
Yeah, those type of people like that who just like, oh, always cool, always like, oh, I'm tough and all that. They're always like a broken person, like they probably don't have anything or have a life really.
No, not really.
Plays that excellently once again.
Oh yeah, and I was kind of thrown off just how likable Vincent is at first. You're like, oh, this dude seems like a cool guy. You know, he's like, you know, he's just chilling, and you know, he's in L.A. and him and Max seem to get on, and he's all like, yo, I'm in L.A. for a few days for a real estate deal, in air quotes. And Max is like, I don't know, and he apparently really likes Max's skill with, you know, navigating through the city. And he's all like, yo, man, I'll give you $600 to drive you to, like, a couple of locations. And Max is kind of... Because apparently it's against regulation to drive someone to several locations. So he's like, I don't know, but he has like the money, and then Max is like, all right, fine. So he ends up driving. I think that's where he talks about he really doesn't like L.A. He wants to get away from Los Angeles as soon as possible.
Yes.
And that's actually one of my favorite parts of the movie is Vincent and Max's kind of budding relationship, you could say.
Yeah, I'd say that. A budding relationship.
It's a weird thing, because it's like, they're not really friends, but it's like, it's kind of, again, it's like Heat. They find a common, like, they find an understanding in each other that, like, no one else could understand him in that way.
Yeah, like, they both see something in each other that no other person has seen in them. And that's where, I mean, as you said, they're not friends, but I wouldn't say I'd say they're also not enemies either. It's a weird relationship. It's a very strange relationship.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a really weird thing, because, it's a really weird relationship in a way. Again, it's like Heat. It's like Heat in that way. It's these two guys who are very different from each other, and yet at the same time, they end up realizing they might be more similar than they both would admit to.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I really like about Michael Mann's films. He really likes to flesh out those types of male kind of understandings like that.
Indeed.
We even see it echoed in stuff like The Dark Knight from Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan is a big Michael Mann fan, apparently. And Dark Knight is very reminiscent of Heat. I mean, that heist scene at the beginning of the movie, oh man, so good.
Oh, yes.
And I kind of joke sometimes I call it Heat with Batman, but, I digress. They end up stopping at this apartment area, and Max is like, hey, could you, and Max, and Vincent's like, hey, could you just, like, pull around back? That'd be appreciated. I'll just come out the back, and, and Max is just like, alright, cool. And again, you kind of get this unease, but you're also kind of like, oh, this dude's kind of cool, right? And then, okay,
Yeah.
So Max, like, waits there, and he's, like, looking at Jada, or he's looking at Annie's card, and he's kind of thinking about what he should do, and he's eating, and he's kind of, like, thinking about what he's gonna do, but then suddenly a guy just, like, flies just falls on Max's car, and I've seen this movie a few times, and I still, when he, like, fell on the car, I was like, oh shit,
I was like, oh, Vincent is not the person we thought he was.
Yeah. Max is like, oh shit, and he, like, gets out of the car, he's like, oh god, oh dear lord, and then Vincent just, like, comes out, and he's super cool about it. He's like, yo, what is this? Yo, what happened? And he's all like, he gives one of his big lines in the movie where he's like, I shot him. Well, it was the fall that killed him, though. And you're like, oh my god. That's kind of one of the things, like, Vincent's cool, but he's also, like, this really kind of frightening person, because he has this, like, cool indifference to human life.
Yeah. Like, just like what he says, like, oh, I shot him, but the fall killed him. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, he's just, like, he's super casual about it. He's just like, yep, shot him. Fall killed him, though. And Jamie Foxx is like, what?
Yeah, like Cameron is like so confused. Like a dead body just fell on top of my taxi car, and you're just acting casual about it.
Yeah, and he's all like, "Look, man, just hide the body in the car and just keep going. It'll be fine." And he's all like, "What? It'll be fine?" And they like argue for a second, but then then he forces Max to get the body and hide it in the trunk and keep going, which is like, oh god, like this is already getting bad.
Like Cameron's thinking to himself, "Oh, I'm in for a bumpy ride."
Yeah, I've heard people compare this to After Hours, and I've never actually seen After Hours, but apparently it's a similar movie. It's about just one guy's really shitty night. Oh, there's also Good Time as well, which I would actually say Good Time is very similar to this movie.
I say so.
Because it's also about a guy who had one really crappy night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so Vincent is actually a hitman. Like, he has to kill a bunch of targets. So that's why he needed Max's help. And Max is not really down to hide a body because, he's a normal person who, isn't violent, isn't, a sociopathic hitman. But Vincent ends up coercing him into hiding the body in the trunk and to keep going. So they end up driving off, and oh no. So they drive for a little bit, and suddenly, at the worst time, just, cops, man. You gotta love them.
Oh boy.
They always show up at just the worst time imaginable, because you're like, oh god. He's like,
oh god.
You're just like, oh Jesus, like this guy, like, look, I just hit a body in the back. What am I gonna tell the cops if they find it?
He's just sleeping.
Yeah. I can just see that. Cameron just awkwardly trying to explain to the cops, like, oh, he just fell asleep and just put him in the back. The cops are just like looking like, yeah, that's what happened.
It's not blood, it's ketchup. He had some some McDonald's earlier, so.
Oh my god. Oh god. But yeah, Vincent's all like, you better tell him to fuck off or I'm gonna kill them. And, of course, Jamie Foxx is like, I don't want anyone dying. So he tries to, like, get him off. He's like, you know why I pulled you over today? And he's all like, no, sir. And he's all like, oh, your window is all fucked up. And he's like, oh, okay. But going back to that coincidence motif, slash theme, I don't know really what to call it. It's kind of interchangeable at this point. Just so happens that the cops end up getting called to a crime scene in the area, and they end up driving off. And man, this scene is suspenseful, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, this scene is so suspenseful. Again, this film is just a walking ball of suspense.
Oh my god, it's a walking bag of nerves. Like, if it's like Good Time. Again, it's like Good Time. It's just a bag of nerves throughout the entirety of the movie.
Oh, absolutely. Like there's never a time where we have like time to breathe. It's always suspense. There's always something happening.
Yeah, it's what Mann really excels at in this movie. He never lets you out. Like, he really forces you to sit and just salivate in the craziness. Just get covered in the just utter insanity of the situation.
Yeah.
On the meanwhile, we end up seeing Mark Ruffalo with a weird haircut and looking Hispanic with an earring? What is this? Turns out Mark Ruffalo is a guy called Ray Fanning.
Oh, Marky Boy.
Yeah, I didn't even... I didn't really know who Mark Ruffalo was before the Hulk. Before he played the Hulk in the Avengers and all those movies.
Yeah.
And I also saw him in a movie called The Normal Heart, which is very good. He's really good in this. Yeah, he kind of has a little side story where he's trying to put together what's going on. And he kind of goes like, this Max guy he doesn't seem like he's in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is really good in this movie. And,
yes.
This is actually the second film I was introduced to him, because the first one was, of course, Bruce Banner in the Avengers. But this is the second film I was introduced to him, and I was like, I gotta keep an eye on this guy.
Indeed. He's really good. Yeah, he's really good in this movie, and he plays this cop called Detective Fanning. And he's like walking to he's walking into his CI's house, and guess what? It just so happens that the CI was the guy that Vincent killed earlier, and he instantly picks up on the fact that something happened because he sees like something's on the floor. He ends up like looking around. He calls for him. He doesn't say anything. He pulls out his gun and he like looks around, and he sees that someone broke out the window. So he ends up calling for backup. And I think that's after that when we get the when we get to the scene of the accident.
Oh yes.
On the meanwhile, and also we end up seeing the investigator. Or is that later?
That's later.
That's later. So at the second stop, Vincent decides, okay, I don't need this dude running off on me. And because Max offered to let him take the taxi earlier when he's like, dude, you can just take the taxi and just fuck off, okay? Because I'm fine with it. You can just take it. He's like, no, I need you for whatever reason. So Vincent doesn't want Max running off, so he ends up like tying his hands. But then his dickhead boss, just the worst boss imaginable. He's up there with the guy from Office Space. And, oh god, and Kevin Spacey's characters and Swimming with Sharks and Horrible Bosses. Just the worst boss ever.
I know, right?
Yeah, he's always like shitting on him. He's always like, yo, Max, what the fuck, man? What you doing? Quit being a pussy. And he's all like, and Vincent's all like, dude, does he ever leave you alone? Like, why is he doing this? He's all like, he just keeps going. He's like, all right, just... And, like, he makes him talk to Lenny, who's the boss. And they talk for a minute, and then Vincent just comes on and feigns being, like, this attorney. And he just chews this dude out, and you're like, damn. And even Max is like, damn, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so good, and it shows you kind of Vincent's thing. He's really good at, even though he's very methodical and calculating, he also is good at adapting to a situation.
Indeed. Yeah, he does a great job of like, as you said, adapting to his situation, where he's just acting like a normal dude. But I was doing my hitman thing, but I'm just this casual dude, normal average dude. And once again, Tom Cruise, fucking phenomenal.
He's unbelievable in this movie.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. Indeed. So he's like, come on, man, you gonna kill another guy? And he's like, look, just stay in here. Don't get into trouble. And he goes in. Which leads up to one of my favorite scenes in this movie. Probably the most iconic part in this movie. Where Max is like fucking scruffling around. He's like, what the fuck? He starts like honking the horn. And he's like, help! Help, man! Ah! And he's like two like random guys start walking up. And Jacob, do you want to take it from here? Because I'm like, it's one of those scenes I gotta hype for a minute.
Oh, yes. So Max is restrained. His hands are tied to the steering wheel, and he sees this gang of guys, and he yells for them for help. he's like, dude, help me. Like, this crazy hitman, like, tied me up. But two of them rob him and seize Vincent's briefcase. Seeing the men walk away with the briefcase, Vincent definitely shoots them both dead and retrieves the briefcase. And then he offers to buy Max a drink at a jazz club. Talk about a suspenseful, heart-pumping scene.
Oh, I love it. I especially love the line, "Yo, homie, that my briefcase?" He's like, "Yeah, you want it back?" And he just fucking, without a sweat, just pulls his gun out and just guns the two guys down. And you're like, damn, like... And one of the things, the violence in this movie is, like, it's very sudden. You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so unexpected.
Yeah, Tom Cruise just goes, bang, bam, bam, and just... It's cold-blooded. You're just like, damn, dude.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my god. Like, it's just... I love that line, too. He's so condescending. He's like, "Yo, homie, that my briefcase?" He's all like, "Yeah, dog, you want it back?" And he just, like, pulls out his gun and just fucking kills them both. Like it's nothing. I'm like, damn.
I want it back, but I'm not gonna ask you. So, you're dead. Both of y'all.
He's like, damn, it's cold-blooded.
Yep. Now I'm gonna take Cameron to the jazz club.
Yeah. Yep. It's just, he murders the oh god, okay. So, he's all like, "Hey, we're gonna go to a jazz club next." And Max is like, alright. God. So they end up, going to a jazz club. And, I have very strong fondness for jazz music, as some of you might know. And I really love Vincent's philosophy that, one of the things that resonated with me about this music is this kind of philosophy about jazz music is, talking particularly about stuff like Miles Davis and, what makes his music so, so phenomenal is that it's unpredictable. And it's kind of, and that's kind of the point of the scene as well. I also love how it plays into the scene that Vincent, even though he's very methodical, he's also extremely unpredictable. You don't know what he's gonna do next.
Oh yes, yes, he is extremely unpredictable, as you said. Like, you don't know what this man's gonna do, if he's just gonna calmly talk to you, or if he's just gonna straight up murder you.
So he ends up going to the club, and they see this guy play, and it's a great band. They end up talking to the owner, and the owner gives this really, fun story about how he met Miles Davis when he was younger. And it's really engaging, and you think, oh, it's actually kind of nice. And one of the things about this movie is that you probably shouldn't expect the unexpected, because then Vincent drops the dime and says that the owner, his name's Daniel, he's the third target.
Oh yes.
And Max is like, "Oh man, like I was starting to like this dude." And he begs Vincent, and he's like, "Please, you don't need to kill him. Like, come on, you can let him go. He didn't seem like a bad guy." I love Daniel's line. He's like, "Just when I thought you were cool." And he's all like, I love his line after that. He's like, "I am cool. I have a pretty awesome profession. I'm cool at my profession." I love it. I love that.
Tom Cruise has, just for this film alone, has some of the best lines ever.
Oh God, and the thing I like so much is that, man, Tom Cruise can be menacing when he puts his mind to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Vincent decides to offer a compromise, and in air quotes, which he says to Daniel, if he can't answer a question about Miles Davis, then he'll kill him. But if he does, he'll let him go.
Mm-hmm.
And I say air quotes because I have the strong suspicion he wasn't going to let him go, no matter no matter what he was gonna say.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jacob?
Oh, I agree, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem like, because, Vincent, very professional, he's kind of like Mike from Breaking Bad. If you ask him to do a job, he's gonna do it to the T. Like, he's not gonna back down from it. So yeah, even with this bet, I don't think he was gonna let the jazz guy go, no matter what he was gonna say.
No, he was still gonna kill him nevertheless.
Yeah, and it seems like and Daniel just confidently gives this answer. He went to Juilliard, but Vincent suddenly grabs a silenced gun and just shoots Daniel like 3 times. And again, the violence is very sudden. So you're just shocked as much as Max is when he kills him. And he says he was wrong because Miles Davis dropped out of Juilliard to be mentored by Charlie Parker, known as Yardbird. And I think that leads credence to my theory. I don't think Vincent was going to let him go, no matter what he said. Even if he got it right, I don't think he was going to let him go.
No, I was still going to kill you, nevertheless.
Yeah. So, on the meanwhile, the gang is meanwhile, the cops are investigating the place, and Fanning is just looking around. He's like, man, this just doesn't make any sense. He's all like, well, where do you think he went? And his boss, like his partner, oh my god, he's the worst cop ever. He's just like, I don't give a shit. Probably just fell. And it's like, motherfucker, it doesn't look like he fell. He's like, dude, it ain't gonna look like he fell. Looks like he got shot. He's like, well, where'd he go? He's like, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now, man.
Yeah, fucking lazy ass.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, yeah, we heard that some guy saw a car. It looked like a taxi, he thought. He's like, dude, there's like fucking 1,000 taxis out here. And then Fanning ends up recalling this case where this cabbie, who apparently didn't have a history of like violent behavior or anything, just suddenly, all of a sudden, just murdered like 3 or 4 people and then it killed himself. Which kind of gives you this really uncomfortable, also fills you with tension as well, because you realize like Vince is probably not going to let Max go after this. And it's even implied that this was Vincent's doing. This may have been Vincent's doing in that case as well. And I think they get the call about hearing another murder happened.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They do, and he's like, oh, shit, we gotta go. So they end up leaving. So on the meanwhile, Max... so Max ends up getting another call from Lenny, who is like, hey, Max, well, where you at? And Max is like, yo, man, what you want? And he's all like, yo, your mom's been calling you for like, he's like, your mom's been calling and wondering where the hell you've been at, Call her, man. She keeps calling us and I don't know what to tell her. And he's all like, all right. And then Vincent gets on. He's like, what are you talking about his mom? And he's like, who the hell is this? He's like, it's the guy you were talking to earlier, jackass, And Vincent ends up learning that Max goes to visit his mom a lot. So Vincent, ever the calculating, careful, very cautious man, he decides we're gonna visit because Max doesn't want Vincent. He doesn't want to visit his mother at the moment because, of course, he's in this bad situation, and he doesn't want to get his mom involved. And Vincent's like, no, we got to keep on schedule. You're visiting your mom right now, and he's all like, fine. So, they end up going to the hospital, and Ida, we end up meeting his mom, who's like, the kind of mom, kind of, she's Max's mom, basically. She's all like, and yeah, Max is like, yo, get some flowers. And he's like, maybe get her some flowers. He's like, bro, she doesn't even like flowers. Like, what are you talking about, dude? And he's all like, well, just get them for her. And he's like, fine. So Vincent buys some, and he's like, keep the change. Funnily enough, guess who's in the elevator with him but Mark Ruffalo as Detective Fanning? Which I always think is funny, because it's like, again, coincidence. He coincidentally is going after the guy. Like, that's the guy who's who's doing all the killings right there, you know?
Yeah.
Very good stuff. I think, anyway.
Indeed. Oh, indeed.
So they end up visiting Max's mom, and she give him flowers. And of course, his mom's this very sassy black woman. She's like, "Boy, I don't even like those flowers." And he's like, and he looks at Vincent. He's like, "Fucking told you."
Yeah, he's like, his mom is just like, boy, give me some flowers. At least give me something that can last long. They're gonna shrivel up and die, boy.
Yeah, exactly. And Max is just like looks, and Cameron just looks back. He's like, I fucking told you, man. And Vincent's just like, oh well, he's like, oh, I bought him, and she's like, oh, did you now? And he's like, yeah, and he like puts on the like charm too, and he's like, he's like getting to know Max's mom, and
they get to know Max too.
And we get to know Max as well, because she ends up saying that Vincent, I think Max said that he's been working with the taxi place for 12 years? 12 years.
Yes, 12 years.
And she tells, he's like, well, Max is a busy man, and Vincent's all like, well, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, he started from nothing, and he has his own limousine his own limousine company. And then it's revealed that Max has basically been lying to her so that she can like feel proud of him, which is just so sad.
Yeah. That's so sad. She's like, oh, he grew up from nothing, but now look at him. He's a taxi driver.
Though I will say, for a little plot hole's sake, I would have been like, I would have suspected the guy who runs a cab company would look a little more respectable, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I try not to judge. I mean, maybe 10 limousine owner people look like Max. I don't know. I've never met a guy who runs a place. But, you'd expect a guy who runs a company to, like, at least look not like you've just been, like, walking around and getting fucking... You, like, walk to get a Subway in the morning before going back to your apartment and, like, eating alone, crying in your bathroom,
Yeah. Why is that, Cameron? Why is that?
It's so weird. I'm surprised his mom didn't like go like, I
don't believe a goddamn word of it.
Yeah, no, I at least would have been suspicious. Yeah.
Man, I wish you would have said that. I would have laughed.
And Max is just like, oh my god, please don't talk to him about that. And oh my god. And Max is just like, yo, fuck this. And of course, we have to get our obligatory Tom Cruise run scene, because Max ends up just like, fuck this, and he ends up taking that briefcase he had and just runs away with it, and Tom Cruise gives pursuit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
We gotta have at least one Tom Cruise-ism.
Oh yeah. We have to at least have one Tom Cruise chasing where he's fucking running his lungs out. Oh god, I just was like, yep, we gotta have one of those. And it's not like a bad thing. I love the Tom Cruise runs. I just think it's funny when it shows up in the movies.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta keep the trend running.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see that video from like when he was filming Mission Impossible 7 or whatever, 6? And he jumped across that building and he like broke his leg. It was like,
oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh my god. Oh, jeez, that is.
You brave man, you.
Oh my god, like that looked painful too. Did you see like they like slow-moed it on Graham Norton and damn, like I cringed a little. Not even a little. I cringed.
Oh damn, gnarly.
And, you know, Tom Cruise is a fucking legend. He just gets up and just keeps going.
Yep. Mad respects.
I'm like, yo, I love this.
Love you, Tommy.
Oh my god. It's just like, oh, dude. Oh, God. Tom Cruise, you know, if Dankula ever made a Mad Lads about Hollywood, I would put Tom Cruise on there, because he's nuts. He's hanging off a plane.
Absolutely.
Like, hanging off a... That's still the most insane stunt I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, 100%.
I'm
Top 3.
Oh my god, just... It's so insane. Just like, how did he do that, man?
It's freaking Tom Cruise.
He's Tom Cruise, I guess. It's like... Have you seen that video where he's talking about all the stuff he can do? And you're like, it's like Batman. What can't this man do?
Oh, yeah. It was a Wired autocomplete interview with him and Doug Lyman. And all the questions were like, can Tom Cruise sing? Can Tom Cruise jump off an airplane? Can Tom Cruise fly a helicopter? Can Tom Cruise contort his body? Yes, 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 and yes.
Oh my... It's like if YOLO were in one man. Like, oh my god damn, Tom Cruise. My respect for you increases. Ugh.
Yep, that's Tom Cruise.
Oh my god. It's just... And Jamie Foxx does his best Tom Cruise run impression. And you know what? He actually does a pretty good job. I don't know what you... Cameron, solid 8.5 out of 10 Tom Cruise run.
Yeah, like, Cameron, I didn't know he could run that well.
I love how he just throws the briefcase. He's like, ha! I love his look. He's like, ha! What are you going to do now? And then Tom Cruise just like... Almost like just a ghost. You know, what's one of the things Vincent's almost like a ghost in this movie.
He is.
I don't know what you think. It kind of reminds me of Shiger from No Country for Old Men.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Yes. Exactly like that.
Except I'd say he's more charismatic than Shiger, because Shiger is basically like this just walking... He's basically the human Terminator.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And like
where Vincent, he definitely is more charming and charismatic.
Yeah, he has more humanity, I think. Like, you know, with like Shiger, there's fucking none of that there.
Yeah, at least with Vincent, he has more personality.
Yeah,
he has a personality.
Don't get me wrong, I am not taking away from Javier Bardem's performance in No Country for Old Men. He is amazing in that movie, and Shiger is terrifying. Like, I'm just saying, and Vince is pretty scary too. But again, I think the difference is that Vincent has a little more personality, while Shiger is kind of this force. He's not really a man.
Yeah, Vincent, like, we know he's like a villain, and he's not a good guy, but he's likable. Where Shuri in No Country for Old Men, like, he's just straight up a bad guy. You could tell. Like, nothing. Just, he is, as you said, just a human Terminator.
Yeah. That's another film I'd love to talk about. No Country for Old Men. Love that film. So good.
Hell yeah.
It's also my favorite Coen Brothers film, too.
Oh, mine too.
Oh, God. So, he slips over to Max, like, really fast, and he, like, takes him on the ground. He's like, you are fucking up my life right now. I'm like, I'm trying to do my job, and you're screwing it up. And it's like, damn, like, he's really, like...
he's not playing around. You know, I'm disappointed about one thing. About, like, Cameron had this other life, and he didn't even tell us.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, Cameron. Been through a lot in these last couple years. What you been doing? Just, oh, God, so ridiculous. It's so insane. Ugh.
Like you've been held hostage by this hitman.
Got held hostage by Tom Cruise. I mean, that must have been good. I'm surprised you didn't tell that at any gatherings we went to. No, anyways. Oh, God. So Vincent is mad, and he tells Max, okay, fine, we're going to go to a little place here. and we're gonna go to this club. And, because in the briefcase, it actually turns out he had information on all 4 of his targets. That's why he needed the briefcase. So he's like, you know what? You're going to go in there. They end up going over there. And he's like, you know what? You're going to go in there, and you're going to pose as me. He's like, what? I'm not you. And he's all like, yeah, better be convincing, though. And he's all like, dude, I could die in there. And he's like, well, yeah, in like 10 minutes. I'm like, you'll be fine. And he's like, well, what if I die? And he's like, oh, big whoop. It just kind of sums it up like, Jesus, this dude's a damn,
Yeah, like, there you go.
It's like, there you go. Even though you're like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. And then you're like, oh, this guy's not a nice guy. On the meanwhile, Fanning is checking some bodies to see if it's his CI anywhere. See if his CI is amongst the bodies. And he ends up finding, he's like, oh yeah, some other bodies came in. He's like, oh really? Let me see. And he ends up uncovering, and he ends up realizing, like, oh, it's a part of this case, the Felix Reyes Torina case. And then he looks at him, he's like, oh shit. And he has like that oh shit moment. And he calls his partner at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Again, this guy's the worst cop of all time. You're just like, dude, can you just do your job properly, like, please? And he's all like, man, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Shut the fuck up, okay? I'm trying to do my job here. God.
You know what? Fine, as long as we get Krispy Kreme after this.
Yeah, he says something to that effect, and you're just like, Jesus. Ugh. So he calls his friend. He's like, yo, do you have our contacts in the FBI? And he's like, yeah. So he's like, all right, we'll call them. He's like, fine. So Vincent goes, so they end up going to the place, and Vincent says that you're gonna pretend to be me. And you say, look for Felix, and tell Felix that it's Vincent, and they'll know who he is. He's like, what? Why can't you just do it? And he's all like, well, I don't like being... Basically explains, because I don't want them meeting me. So he's like, fine. So Max goes in there, and holy shit, the tension and suspense in this scene is almost suffocating.
Oh, it is very, like, it feels like, oh, you can't breathe. Like, you don't have no time to breathe.
Oh, man, and Jamie Foxx just does it where his heart, you can almost feel his heartbeat, he's about to have a fucking stroke right in the middle right in the middle of that place. And I gotta say, I was gonna save this for later, but I really like that Max picks up from Vincent, like, some of his lines later on, but that's actually for later.
Yeah, it's later.
Vincent's like, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna get my last 2 targets and you're gonna bring it back to me. And Max is like, fine. So he goes in there, and Max awkwardly poses as Vincent. He's like, I'm Vincent. I'm Vincent. They're like, okay. So they end up taking him to a drug lord by the name of Felix Reyes Torina, played by Anton Chigurh himself, Javier Bardem. Which is funny. I was about to say, it's funny I mentioned him, but earlier. But I guess if there can't be 2 psychotic hitmen in this movie, so he's a drug lord in this film. And oh man, the suspense in this movie.
It's just nonstop suspense.
What do you think of this scene when he meets Javier Bardem?
One of my favorite scenes, other than the scene where Max is restrained. This scene is just like a walk. Once again, this film is just nonstop suspense, and this film is just like so taut and so suspenseful.
Oh my god, yes. Pumping. Oh, it's so good. And Felix is just not taking this at first. He's all like, So you're telling me you lost the hard drive that I gave you? And he's all like, yeah, it's shit happened, I got tailed. And, yada yada. And then he gives, like, this really weird monologue. This could have been really goofy if they didn't play it exactly right. But he gives this story about it. He tells his children about Santa Claus and, like, the other guy, Pedro, that he hangs out with or something. And, you'd think this is really stupid and goofy. But Mann plays it just right, where it's just, like, really suspenseful. And you're like, oh, God, what's he going to do? Mm-hmm. And even, I had seen this film before. And I was still on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh, my God, what's he going to do?
Oh, yeah, still to this day, like, I'm still like, oh, my God, what is he going to do? Even though I know what he does.
And Max, while terrified, ends up... one of the things, and like I mentioned earlier, one of the things I like about Max is I like how he takes from Vincent.
Yes, he's in some way fond of Vincent.
I don't know if he's fond of Vincent, but he basically picks up on Vincent's sayings, and like he basically quotes Vincent. He likes improvising. Sometimes you got to improvise, and Felix is just barely convinced to lend him the information. He's like, okay, don't fuck me over again, or I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then he ends up telling his muchachos to kill Vincent / Max if he fucks up. They're like, damn, like okay. On the meanwhile, we see Fanning meet up with the FBI agents, and the FBI are like, hey. And he gives the information he's found, and they're like, yeah, it's a good idea. We're going to try and track this dude down. And they end up seeing Max walk inside the club, which is very awkward, and definitely looks bad if, out of context. But Fanning doesn't buy that this lowly cabbie is this super hitman. He's like, no. Like, it can't be him. He's like, well, you know how they are. They hide in plain sight. Which, is a good point. But it's like, This man doesn't have a criminal record. It just doesn't make it... It doesn't have any history of violent behavior at all. And he says, well, that's what they do, right? That's what hitmen do. They hide in plain sight, right? He's like, yeah, but I'm just not buying it. And he's like, well, that Oakland case. And he's like, he basically gives I don't really care about all that. Anyway. So, the FBI mistakenly believe that Max is Vincent now. Mm-hmm. And Fanning just doesn't buy it.
He's like, I'm not buying this.
So, Max ends up going to a nightclub with Vincent, which is probably my favorite action scene in the movie aside from the end. The nightclub scene, yay! I love this scene. It's where Tom Cruise just fucking goes out and just starts murdering people very coldly. And back to the violence in this film. It is very sudden.
Like, it just happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Tom Cruise is like, I'm just gonna do my thing, and that's exactly what he does. He, like, pulls this dude's head back and, like, snaps it, and you're just like, ugh, like that, damn.
Like,
he's like, damn, Tom Cruise, and you can finally kind of see, like, he's, like, there's this, like, anger, and he just, like, starts murdering people, and the cops end up breaking in, and it's a whole fiasco, and, the guy's target, who's this, like, fat Korean guy sitting over there, his name's Peter Lim, and Peter's like, yo, kill them, and he starts, like, firing at him, and Jamie Foxx is like, holy shit, and then the FBI starts shooting at him, and then the fucking Mexican muchachos start shooting at him. It's chaos. But Vincent, going back to his enjoyment of improving to the situation, ends up using the chaos to his advantage, and he ends up killing Lim. He ends up shooting Peter Lim and killing him, thus killing the third target. Or no?
Yeah, the third target.
Yeah, it's the third target. So Vincent ends up just shooting everybody. He kills Felix's hitman. He ends up killing Lim, and he ends up killing the bodyguards. The cops show up and just start murdering everybody. Or not murdering everybody. The FBI guy who kind of blew off Fanning gets capped in the leg, and it doesn't look good. And Fanning ends up finding Max in the chaos and is like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here. But right as you think things are about to start like going well, Vincent just fucking caps Fanning all of a sudden, and everyone's like, oh. And again, back to the violence being really just sudden, and you're like, oh Jesus, you know, you're like, damn. You're like, damn, I kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
Kind of sucked he died.
Sucks to be him.
That was... Jeez. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, God. Vincent just shoots him and is like... And Max is like, get in it. And he's like, tells Max, he's like, get in. And Max just like, fuck. He gets on. And Tom Cruise is like looking out the window and checking to see if anyone's coming out. And nobody seems to be following them. And, we finally really get to see, and I kind of forgot to talk about these a little bit, but there are a lot of conversations in this movie that these two guys have, and they end up realizing that, they kind of share they kind of share some in common. They're these kind of two guys wandering aimlessly through life. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I think my favorite part of this movie is the kind of, not really friendship, but this kind of understanding that they have of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they both, they both understand each other once they, kind of pretty much get to know each other.
Yeah, basically. And Vincent ends up just Max ends up chewing Vincent out for being a dick, as well as a hitman, as well as his just indifference to human life. And then Vincent just goes full throttle. He's just like, you're lying to your mom, and he basically gives this just speech about how life has no meaning, and he's just going through life, and the people who, came across him who he killed, it wasn't their day kind of thing. And this really pisses Max off, and Max is like, you know what, fine. So, he ends up rather recklessly driving into the, and Vincent's all like, hey man. And Vincent's like, hey man, slow down. He's like, well, nothing matters, right? So, it's like, fine. And he's like, well, if nothing matters, fine. And he just kind of drives into, and he ends up crashing rather dramatically. Ends up crashing the car, which finally we get to the final act of this movie.
Yes.
Which, holy crap. I was reading on Wikipedia how the final act kind of got the second half of the movie got a mixed reception. I don't know what they were smoking at the time, but let me tell you, this final act is insane.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So, Max crashes the cab, though they both survive, so that's fine. And Vincent's all like, alright, see ya, and just fucking leaves. And a cop shows up, he's like, hey man, you alright? And he then ends up seeing the corpse in the trunk. He's like, oh. So then he tries to arrest Max, thinking he did it, obviously. But Max sees the open laptop, and it's revealed that his final target was Annie, that chick he was talking to earlier.
Oh yeah.
So again, kind of shows Max's quick thinking. I really like that. He ends up picking up Vincent's gun, or no, um, oh no, he has Vincent's gun. So the cop tries to arrest him, but Max ends up taking what Vincent said about him never taking action in his life to heart, which is basically his arc in the movie, is that he's finally taking action in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just kind of had to be pushed in that direction in such an extreme way. But instead of, just kind of going with the flow as he used to, he's going to finally just take some action with his life.
Oh, yeah. This circles back, to their relationship. I think low-key, Vincent was one of the most respected men Max knows. Vincent helped Max learn a lot about himself and taught him both directly and indirectly how strong he could really be. In this scene, you can just see it. Like, he's finally taking action instead of just going with the flow, as you said.
Yeah, and I think, and I probably should save this for the end, but I think what separates the two is that Max decides that, no, I'm not just going to flow through life anymore. I'm going to, take action with this, and I'm going to try and stop this guy, even if he kills me in the process. While Vincent just kind of goes with it, because to him, it just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's what he can do, and he just doesn't care anymore. Anyway, so Max ends up just flipping the cop over, just WWE style, and just and forces him to cuff himself. And he picks up his gun and just runs off. He's like, I'm sorry, call the cops and send him over to this area and yada yada. And he ends up stealing a dude's phone, which here's a funny. And then we get Jamie Foxx doing his best Tom Cruise run impression, which again, 8.5 out of 5. Or not out of 5, out of 10. And this dude's taking his phone, and he just steals the phone, and the dude's like, hey, jerk off, and he pulls the gun out, and the dude's like, all right, you can take it. It's just so good. It's so good. I like it.
I love it.
It's so funny. It's just he's like, hey man, he's like, hey, what the fuck, man? He's gets his gun out, I've got it, and he's like, oh shit, all right, you can take it. Oh Lord. And he runs over to where Annie's place is, and he ends up calling her, and he's like, bro, and she's all like, oh, hey, Max, what's up? And he's all like, hey, look, it's gonna sound crazy, but there's a guy, and he's gonna come and kill you. And she's all like, are you serious? Come on, and, she's like, oh, come on, you're not gonna... she doesn't believe him at first. That's until Max reveals that he knows a bit about the victims. And, oh yeah, it was revealed earlier that the victims were actually witnesses in a case against Felix, the Javier Bardem character. The Santa Claus guy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, it's a case against him. And... Annie was the prosecuting attorney on that case.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. So Max reveals details, so she finally believes him, and then he tells her to call 911 now. But Vincent ends up showing up and kills a security guard. So Vincent ends up killing a security guard and taking his gun and goes up to track Annie down. Which, holy shit, I gotta talk about the editing in this scene. The editing is magnificent. I mean, editing is not, I sometimes, because I tend to focus on direction and cinematography and writing a lot of the time, but holy crap, the editing in that scene. Reminded me a lot of Silence of the Lambs when Clarice goes to Buffalo Bill's house. And I've been taking a video production class recently, so I've been learning about this stuff. Oh my god. It reminds me a lot of the scene where she visits Buffalo Bill and the FBI are raiding, and you think they're going to raid Buffalo Bill's house, but it turns out they raided the wrong house, and Clarice is there and found him at the right house.
Yeah.
Hella suspenseful. And he ends up going in there, and she's not in her office. She's like in the other... She's like in like the law room or something. I forget exactly. Like just getting like lawyer files.
Oh,
yeah. So, Vincent ends up going in there, and Max is like, oh shit, he's there. And he's like, you better hide. And she's like, oh crap. And then the power goes out. So, yeah. Suspense up to like 12 is just like, oh my god, this is just, ugh, man.
Up to 20.
Oh my god, yeah, up to 1,000. Like, it's not even like, it's up to 1 to 1,000 pretty quickly. And Vincent ends up running in there, and he almost has Annie, but Max arrives just in the nick of time. He has his gun, and he's all like, hey man, back off. And then Vince is all like, yo man, what are you gonna do? And he just suddenly shoots him like right in the neck.
Yeah.
He just like suddenly shoots him, and you're just, again, the violence catches you off guard in this movie.
It really does.
Yeah, you're like, damn, like he just did it, and like he totally thought Max wasn't gonna do it, and he just shot him, and you're like, oh shit, okay. He ends up taking Annie, and they end up fleeing, but Vincent, Tom Cruise again, just lays chase. We get another Tom Cruise run, and it is magnificent. 10 out of 10.
Every Tom Cruise run is always going to be a 10 out of 10.
No one runs like him.
Oh, yeah.
They end up running into the train. They end up running on a metro train, and Vincent ends up finding where they are, and it's just super intense. Like, they end up going on the train. They hide from him, but Vincent, man, little scamp, he finds his way onto the train.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm a hitman. I'm experienced, so I know what to do.
Yeah, and Vincent just is like, he gets in, he pulls a gun on everybody, and he's like, all right, everybody. And he doesn't even say anything. He just kind of goes and he just yells, Max, I do this for a living. This is one of his.
I love that line.
Which is one of his favorite. Which is one of his best lines in the movie.
Oh yeah, I love that line.
And Max is like, ah, shit. And the power ends up going out, and once again, back to the random chance motif. Max ends up they just unload on each other. And Max by chance ends up hitting Vincent in the process. And, I like how this is both satisfying and kind of sad at the same time.
Yeah. Like, it's satisfying finally seeing Max, like, come out of his shell in a way and, like, not going with the flow with everything and just, like, stepping up. And you're proud of him, but at the same time, we're also sad that Vincent lost because Vincent was likable despite him being a hitman.
Yeah, it's again kind of going back to Heat. It's kind of like the moment when Hannah shoots Macaulay for the last time and kills him. You feel like, again, you're satisfied that he took him down, but you also kind of feel sad. And even Max kind of feels sad for a moment because he realizes, like, damn, he just killed a guy. And but Vincent, he's unfazed. He's almost bemused. He ends up sitting down on the train, and he looks, and Max ends up like he's. I love the little detail. Even though the gun's empty, he's like still pointing it at him. And he like sits down, and then almost bemusedly, Vincent just says, "Remember?" He kind of repeats that story he said about the man dying unnoticed on the metro train, which goes back to earlier, which great foreshadowing there.
Indeed.
And he just kind of slumps over and dies, and like it doesn't feel good when he dies. You almost feel sad. Again, it's like Heat when Robert De Niro's character dies at the end of the movie. Spoilers for Heat, by the way, if you haven't seen it. And it's really sad.
Yeah, it was very bittersweet.
And it's kind of the and it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's kind of the tragedy of Vince's character is that he does what he does because he just kind of goes with it because he just doesn't think it matters at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And he just dies. Well, he doesn't die alone, but he dies basically unnoticed because he complains about how disconnected everyone was, but he's disconnected himself. And it kind of comes full circle, and you kind of feel sad, but like it's kind of fitting at the same time, because for a guy who treats life as something that's insignificant, he ends up dying basically by himself in an insignificant manner, randomly at a train, just like he said at the beginning of the movie. I don't know. It's kind of it's poetic in a way. I don't know.
It is poetic. I would say it is.
To quote the almighty George Lucas, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Exactly.
I thought it was funny. I said, I thought it was funny when I said, the almighty George Lucas.
The almighty, the legendary George Lucas.
Yes. But yeah, it's really sad when he dies. What do you think, Jacob? Did you feel? I hope it's not just me who felt. I hope it's not just me who felt kind of sad when Vincent died.
Oh no! I mean, it's a bit. I said, it's a very bittersweet ending because we're like so proud of Max for not going with the flow and stepping up and taking action. But it's also sad at the same time seeing Vincent die because you actually cared for him because knowing just this hitman who probably doesn't really have a life, and as you said, he pretty much dies alone, and it's satisfying but also sad because we cared about Vincent even despite him being a hitman, and even Max just damn, I killed a guy. I love how also kind of confused on Vincent's death because Vincent has helped him a lot. Vincent has actually helped him a lot. Coming to terms with coming to terms with reality. Kind of, as I said, stepping up,
giving him perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Better way to put it. So yeah, very bittersweet ending, I say.
It is kind of ironic because I don't think he kind of underestimated Max in that sense because he thought, oh, Max is just gonna take it, and whatever. But Max inadvertently took what Vincent said to heart and eventually got the better of him. And you're kind of like, yeah, Max, you took that guy down, but you're also like, damn, it's kind of sad.
It is.
It's like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the movie, you see just kind of Max and Annie end up getting off at the next station, and they end up leaving. And that's basically the end of the movie. It's like another day. It kind of goes back to almost the motif of randomness and chance. It's like another day just went by. After all that crazy shit, they end up getting off the train and just walking away I mean, I'm sure, if there's another movie I kind of would have liked to see, continue after. I would have liked to see like another Collateral type of film. See what happened next after that whole situation. But it's probably not going to happen. You know what? I'm satisfied with it as a standalone movie.
Oh, I am too.
Yes, I forgot to say earlier. No one captures L.A. nightlife quite like Michael Mann. Maybe Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, him and Michael Mann like capture the night time beautifully.
Oh yes, but that is Collateral. Man, great movie. Thank you, Chris Stuckman, for introducing me to this film.
Oh yes, Collateral. My favorite Michael Mann film, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Cruise, I think, still his best performance for me. Cameron Holden, buddy, our dear friend, he was phenomenal in this.
Oh yes.
But, jokes aside, Jamie Foxx was really great in this as well. Just nonstop suspense, very taunt, well edited, very stylish, and an extremely compelling noir thriller.
Oh yes, it's an action movie with soul, man. Because again, I'm bringing up Chris Stuckman. He made a great video about the problem with action movies, and one of the issues was the story, and that's something I agree with. Because I'm a very story-centric person. Like, give me a good story, and then we'll talk. And Collateral kind of fits all the box. Great action, great characterization, surprisingly, great storytelling as well.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And again, I think this is Michael Mann's last great film, really, because the other two movies he's made since then were yeesh, not very. Public Enemy wasn't bad. Public Enemies wasn't bad at all, but Black Hat, not good. Not good movie. Don't watch Black Hat. It's a bad film. It's a bad movie. It's a very stinky movie. Anyway. Again, thank you, Chris Stuckman, for getting me into this movie. I love this film. 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, yeah. Just 8+, 10 out of 10, 5 stars.
It's just phenomenal movie. I mean, God. One of Tom Cruise's best, really.
Indeed. Absolutely.
I mean, I already knew the dude could act, and, that's kind of the catch-22 of being a star. You're well-known, but sometimes people forget that you can act. You're a star for a reason. You can hold your own against more air quotes serious actors.
Yeah, like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Ethan Hawke, Matt Nicholson, Cillian Murphy. Yeah, just to name a few actors who are really underrated.
Oh yeah, I mean and Tom Cruise again. I gotta give it to him, and Jamie Foxx as well. Both are phenomenal. I love the chemistry between the two of them. I love the relationship that kind of forms between Max and Vincent, and it's one of the most interesting relationships I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they both challenge each other, not just in a physical way, but also mentally as well.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Jacob sent me something. Guessing it's for tonight's episode. Oh, yes, Nightcrawler as well. That also captures nightlife in L.A. pretty nicely. Even though
yes.
That there should be an unofficial trilogy, Drive, Collateral, and, Nightcrawler. It's like the L.A. nightlife trilogy movies. Great. Nightcrawler's another one Chris Stuckman turned me on to. That's also a phenomenal movie.
Oh, yeah. Masterpiece. Another film I love to talk about.
Oh man, but Collateral, great film. I love it. One of Tom Cruise's best. One of Michael Mann's best. I mean, I still prefer Heat just by a tiny bit, but Collateral is a very, very close second.
Oh hell yeah!
Collateral, just a masterpiece. Just a fast-paced, no fat at all in the script at all.
Nope. None.
So good. So good. Such a great film. Collateral. Thank you, Chris Stuckman, from me. And I think Chris introduced you to this movie, Chris Stuckman?
Yes, I remember watching his opening where he was cosplaying as as Vincent. And I was like, this must be a great movie then, if he's cosplaying as Vincent. And then I watched his review, and I was like, I gotta check this film out. Then I watched it, I was like, oh man, what a great movie.
Oh my god, it's really good. I love Collateral. Very good film.
Hell yeah.
Well, it seems we finished a bit early today. You got some extra time to talk about some other things that have been going on in the world?
Oh, sure, yeah. I actually saw a new film.
Oh, what'd you see?
Finally, I saw Nightmare Alley, the new Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I still need to see that, because I was going to, but January really sucked for me. I was sick. I got sick. I got fucking bug bites all over my body. It was bad. It was a bad time. Also, it was just bad. I might have also gotten COVID. It was not a fun time in January. But I did manage to survive. But I didn't. I did see that it is on HBO Max. I might catch it. What did you think of Nightmare Alley?
I loved it. Like, in my opinion, Guillermo del Toro is coming back. I mean, like, Shape of Water, in my opinion, is his best film. Like, I love
agree.
Shape of Water.
Like
that's such a great film.
I mean, Pan's Labyrinth is great, and I really enjoy that movie. But Shape of Water just it stuck with me, and I was debating with a friend of mine the other day about it. He's like, it's about a woman who fucks a fish. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, but there's more to it, you know. And he's like, well, it's still a woman fucking a fish. I'm like, you know what? Fuck off. Anyway.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
Best Picture, so that's a big haha to you.
Yeah, it's one of those rare Best Pictures that kind of deserved the win, even though I didn't think it was going to win, because it is such a different movie. It's not a film you'd expect the Oscars to take on to.
Yeah, like that was one of the most surprising Best Picture wins, because like I didn't think it would win Best Picture. I thought it deserved its nomination, but I didn't think it would win. So
I didn't even think it was going to be a contender. I didn't even think it was going to be a contender, because it's like, it's one of those movies you think, like, no one's gonna care about this. Like maybe the film nerds, like, you know, me and Jacob are probably gonna, you know, really be into. Was not expecting the Oscars to, like, you know, because Oscars are usually not friendly to weirder films like The Shape of Water.
Yeah, they usually don't pick weird films or superhero films because the Oscars suck. But anyway, Nightmare Alley, great film. I loved it. Performances all around, spectacular. Production design, the direction. Guillermo del Toro, he's coming back. I mean, when it comes to Guillermo del Toro as a director, I really like him. I mean, I love the Hellboy films from him. Like, I love the Hellboy films.
I haven't actually seen those.
Strongly recommend it. Such good movies.
I have read the comics, so they're very good.
Oh, yeah. This movie takes a lot of inspiration from the comics. It feels like Guillermo del Toro took it feels like a Hellboy comic ripped right out of it. But anyway, Nightmare Alley, Nightmare Alley, I loved. It was on TV, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch it. But because didn't get a chance to watch it, but finally I got a chance to watch it, and Guillermo del Toro has done it again with this film. Definitely deserving of a Best Picture nomination, because it is nominated for Best Picture. 100% deserved. Great movie.
Yes, I've been kind of getting back into watching the movies myself, because I kind of was in a slump where I wasn't really in the mood to watch movies, except for when my dad and I would go to the movie theater together. I saw The Last Samurai, another Tom Cruise classic, which, you know what, I actually kind of liked. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I was kind of afraid it was going to be like a Dances with Wolves situation, where it was just going to be this contrived white guy, you know, learns the value of tolerance. And there is some of that in The Last Samurai. But I thought it was a very entertaining movie throughout the entirety.
Oh, yeah. Love Last Samurai.
Yeah, I also saw Aikuru from Akira Kurosawa, my third film from him that I've seen, aside from Yojimbo and Ron. Ron, highly recommended, by the way. That's another one I'd love to talk about someday, though I don't think Jacob's seen it.
No, I have not.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway. But yeah, Aikuru. Oh my god, it's one of those movies that'll just it'll it'll get you. Not in like I mean, it is a very emotional film, but it's basically like it's like It's a Wonderful Life, except it doesn't quite have the sentimentality of that movie.
Oh yeah, right.
But I was left just speechless. Like it was one of those movies. Like I just was. I can't even describe it. I thought it was. I will say though, I thought it was a fantastic movie.
I might as well check it out.
I also started The Marvelous Miss Maisel from after a recommendation from Tig, our friend of the show, Tig, which I'm enjoying so far as well.
Awesome.
I rewatched Collateral for this episode. I also watched The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Roger Rabbit fame. Also, fantastic gangster film. I quite like British gangster films because they tend to be just as mean. They have a particular brand of meanness that they kind of got from the Americans, but it's also really mean. But Bob Hoskins, man, oh my God, what an actor!
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I miss him. I wish he didn't die. He was so good. He was so good in that. He was so good in The Long Good Friday. He's so believable. Yeah. Like you'd think he plays like this really cockney tough guy, and you think, crap, this is gonna be like a stereotype. But no, he plays it very well.
Oh yeah. Oh. Another thing I want to bring up. Britton, did you watch the deleted scene with Batman and Joker?
Yes, I did. I thought I thought you were going to bring up something else, which I wanted to bring up. But yes, I did see that video.
What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was great. Now, there's a lot of people like, it's great, kind of sick of the Joker, though. And you know what? I sympathize with those. I do sympathize with those. But, goddamn, Barry Keoghan was great. I just, so good. It was a great scene.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just to go about the deleted scene, I love just from what we're seeing that they're treating this Joker like a Hannibal Lecter, which I really like. It's a nice change of pace. And Barry Keoghan, I mean, you even told me it's like the dude looks like Joker. I'm like, yeah, and he's proven himself to be a really good actor. So, just from that little scene we saw, I'm like, oh my God! Like with Heath Ledger's Joker, he was just like so. What's the word? So scary in a way where it's just like, oh my God! But with this Barry Keoghan's Joker, from what we're seeing, his is going to be a lot more psychological.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Also, in his look, I know it's blurry, but just from the high resolution shots we see him in, ripped straight out of New 52. Like, I know a lot of people are kind of complaining about his look, but for me personally, I love it. Like it looks like he fell into like a pool of acid.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the Joker's origin, right? He fell into a bunch of chemicals, and you think, I don't know, like, well, you know what? Let's see what would happen if let's see what would happen if that sort of case went down. And yeah, it looks like his skin is just rotting away, and it's just like, God, it's just so, oh man, it's grotesque. But it's just, I love the thing they just really nail the Batman Joker dynamic.
Yes, like Batman is going to the Joker for his perspective on like the Riddler's plan and what he's trying to do. And I love how the Joker's so fascinated by the Riddler. Like he's like so articulate. I'm just like, ooh.
And yeah, I also love how he kind of pushes Batman's buttons, because that's what the Joker does. He gets under Batman's skin like no one else can. And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
bet deep down you really enjoy. Or he's like, he says, I bet deep down you think they deserve it. And he just starts cackling. And Batman's like, I'm done with this shit. He leaves.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll admit, like, I am getting burnt out on, like, ever seeing another portrayal of the Joker. I mean, we just had Joaquin Phoenix, like, 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, damn you, I want to see more of this Joker now. Stop with the Joker. He's so interesting. Darn, damn you, Matt Reeves. But still love you, Senpai.
At least, but at least, like, if you're gonna do another portrayal, give us something different. As I said, from what we're seeing in this, like, little deleted scene, they're treating him like an Hannibal Lecter type of character, which I love.
He's all like, it's our first anniversary, and he's all like, look, man, I'm just here to. He's like, look, dude, I'm just here to get your perspective on this. He's like, oh, interesting. And I love the sound design. Like, I was kind of like, I can't really hear what he's saying, but I kind of like how it's the sound design. It almost feels kind of old, and it kind of goes back to that grungy atmosphere of the actual movie. Which, again, I gotta see again. I want to see again.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, that deleted scene was really good. Just Barry Keoghan. I'm like, damn it, I want to see more, even though I'm kind of burnt out on the Joker. Damn you!
But they know, because, like, from, like, the entire time in that deleted scene, like, his face is just blurred out. Like, Matt Reeves knows, like, he's gonna bring something special to this, so we're gonna savor the flavor for the next movies.
Oh God, it's just like, I mean, I get it. I get the burnt out on the Joker, and but it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense at the same time. It's like he's his greatest enemy. Like that's just it. It's like you can't have Batman without the Joker. But I digress.
Yeah.
I was also on a podcast recently, another one that wasn't this one, called Just Joshin' with Josh Pantalesko. I apologize, Josh, if I got your name wrong. But
I actually watched that one.
Oh,
really
yeah. What'd you think?
I loved it.
Did you get to the part where I was ranting about the rise of Skywalker? Ugh. I'm like, I'll save that for Brit and Jacob, the movies.
Yeah, all I'll say is, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one. I'm like, God, I fucking hate that movie. But that's a digress. I'm digressing. But man, that yes, I was on there. It was a lot of fun. I would really like to do it again. I enjoyed myself. I even tried to take some time to promote the podcast a little bit. See if anyone comes on. Our Snyder Cut episodes kind of blew up. It took a minute to upload though. That was a real bitch. Cause sorry about that, Jacob. Jacob's like, oh, is it uploading still? I'm like, yes, my computer is just being weird. It's really weird when I'm uploading videos. I have to be really careful with it, or it'll just be stuck in limbo.
I see.
Yeah, and Jacob's like, doesn't take this long. I'm like, I know, plus it's a long-ass episode anyway. It's like fucking 3.5 hours, so you're just like...
Mm-hmm.
And even if I didn't get plastered on the first part, I'm like, dude, I think we would have done a part 2 anyway, because it's a long-ass movie. Even if it flies along nicely, I'm like, who's going to sit through a 5-hour podcast? Like, we're going to have to split it in 2 parts.
Oh, yeah. I think we were going to have to split in 2 parts anyway, because it's a 4-hour movie. So...
Even then, I'm like, I know you two are... I mean, as fun as it was talking about it, I'm sure you two were going to get burnt, and we're going to have to split this.
Yeah. Part 1, still my favorite episode.
I'm sure it was. Oh, God. It's kind of like watching a train wreck. It's fun to watch, but it's kind of like, oh, God. Anyway, in some other news, I was really excited to talk about this and also just to express my regret that I didn't contribute to this. But our boy, the guy who inspired this, the guy we rip off on a daily occasion, Chris Stuckman, this man has made a miracle happen. Like, did you hear about this, Jake? I'm sure you heard. This is probably a dumb question. You've heard about this, right?
Oh yeah, his funding for his film Shelby Oaks reached over $1 million.
Oh my god, highest grossing horror film, just the biggest like Kickstarter of a horror film of all time. That is insane.
I'm proud.
And I am thrilled because I've been a fan of Chris Stuckman for like about 7 years now. I've watched him since around 2015. And I'm very happy to see this because Chris Stuckman, man, I've been watching this dude for years, and his passion is so infectious. And I think he's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I really like he's. It's like, man, I'm excited for Shelby Oaks, and I'm really pleased to see that they got everything they wanted out of this, and Chris deserves it because damn it, he's given up so much for us, the viewers, as well as to attain his dream of doing what he wants to do. It's beautiful, man.
I mean, Chris Stuckman, he has opened up to a lot of things. I mean, like, he was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and he came out as pansexual, and now he's going to be making his own first film, his first real film, and I'm so proud of the guy, and he also has twins.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that video? And so,
yeah.
Did you see that? It's like
Chris is the daddy now.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm like, oh my god, I'm old. Chris is a dad now. It's still weird. Like, it's still weird, even though he's like making videos now, and we're kind of used to it. It's like, yo, this dude ain't a dad. Like, it's over now. It probably because he doesn't really promote his kids all that much. He's like, I'm gonna keep it on the down low. Though I do follow his wife on Instagram, and she does share her kids a bit, so they are very cute.
They are.
Though I did think it was hilarious in his video where they announced it. I was kind of nervous they were gonna get a divorce. I'm like, oh shit, they better not have gotten like a divorce or anything. Nope, they had kids. I'm like, oh thank God. Like it's.
I love his reveal. He's like, please welcome our children.
Yeah, it's like Dragon Ball, a magical twin has appeared. I love it. It's so good.
Classic Chris.
Oh god, so good. And he's finally making this damn movie, this Shelby Oaks project, which is oddly appropriate because it's about a YouTube kind of content. I'm like, you know what? That's appropriate. I fuck with this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Kickstarter account, but I didn't put my money on there, and I regret not contributing. Because one, my parents do not understand how the internet works and how to, do Kickstarters and all that. So they're afraid of scammers, and they give me a hard time when I do give money. I mean, it's understandable, but it is annoying, and I don't really like dealing with that. But otherwise, I would have contributed money, but I do want to spread the good word. I think it's over now, but I want to spread the good word. Chris Stuckman has now fucking gangbusters at the moment. I'm definitely seeing Shelby Oaks when or if it comes out. Probably win, because they got the fucking money to do it.
Yeah, no brainer. I'm definitely seeing it.
Oh yeah, I'm down. I'm like, this better be good. Like, I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah.
And it looks like a lot of fun. And apparently, there are rumors circulating that A24 took an interest in it, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
A24, one of the greatest movie studios ever, took interest in Chris Stuckman's Shelby Oaks.
Yo, bro. I thought it was Blumhouse, but there's people like, yo, it's A24. And Chris isn't going to talk about it because, it's that weird thing where they can't talk about it just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Shelby Oaks, man. I don't know about you. Or that's a no-brainer. I know you're probably excited about it.
Oh, yeah, no brainer. I'm definitely excited.
But I did make up for not putting my own money in it by telling others to put their money in it and promoting it and telling people, hey, Chris Stuckman, he knows what the fuck he's doing. Give him the money.
Exactly.
And he's been making videos like, holy shit, guys, we are really getting up there.
And look, you made over 1 million.
Yeah, I know. And Chris was, I thought it was funny. I was just like, I wasn't really expecting too much. I knew I was probably going to get some traction. And I'm all like, bro, you almost have like 1 million subs. Or, dude, I think the guy does have 1 million subs.
He does.
He does have 1 million subs. Like, it was going to be at least a bit successful. But hey,
almost 2 million, so.
Almost 2 million, yeah. I mean, it probably would have been successful. But you know what? I understand the whole... It's kind of the whole thing with artists, you know, you never, it's kind of like the thing with, like, directors and artists and everyone. They never expect to be successful, even if they've garnered, like, a following somehow. Like, no one ever expects to blow up. And you know what? I am relishing in it. I am so happy to see Chris succeed this well. That's bad. I'm not describing it well. What do you think, Jacob? I know you have thoughts on this. Or I'm sure you do.
I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of Chris Stuckman because Chris Stuckman was the first film critic I was introduced to. Like him, Jeremy Johns, and the Flick Pick specifically. Roger Siskel and Ebert, Dan Murrell, like film critics that highly inspired me. Chris Stuckman was like the top tier for me. And I'm so proud to see that he gets to finally has the money to make Shelby Oaks, and I couldn't be more proud.
Oh man, I'm really pleased because you know I've been a fan of Chris like Doug Walker and like him, and you know I'll admit I think Doug Walker's kind of lost his steam over the years, and that's really unfortunate because I really liked his nostalgia critic stuff. But Chris is he's like my second, like he's my go-to guy usually when I see a movie.
Oh, mine too, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and also he introduced me to a lot of quality movies as well. I mean, I don't think I would have known what Under the Skin or Drive or even Collateral was without this man.
Mm-hmm.
I love. I really enjoy his channel, and I cannot wait to see what he does with Shelby Oaks.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait.
Oh man, and you know it's just so much, man. It's like I'm sure Chris is just mind blown. I did join. I will say I did join the Discord of Shelby Oaks. Yeah. Very interesting. I didn't really, because I'm awful at keeping up with Discord. But, yeah, it was fun seeing all the people going like, oh boy, what's Chris gonna do? You know, all that good stuff. He probably deleted it now, but I hope not. But, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's still active. Okay. Oh, alright. Anyways. But yeah, Shelby Oaks, baby.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited.
I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it.
I know I'm excited. I can't wait to see what Chris does. I did see one of his short movies called Notes from Marnie, I think.
Notes from Melody.
Notes from Melody. I'm sorry. I feel like such a bad fan now because I flubbed that. I did see that. I really liked it, actually. I thought it was very charming. And I'm like, I think that would be an interesting full-length feature, but hey, it works just well enough as a short movie. And then he made one called The Auditorium, which I thought looked kind of cheesy, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Auditorium 6.
Auditorium 6. Oh my god, I feel like such a terrible fan right now.
So big you are. No, I'm
kidding. It's like you're such a fake. I'm like, oh no! And I'm just like, oh god. And, man. But yes. Oh my lord. Yeah, it's the most funded horror film on Kickstarter. That is insane.
Yeah, that is like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nuts. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Shelby Oaks, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
Yes, Auditorium 6 and Melanie, because I am a fucking idiot. Notes from Melanie is very good, though. I do recommend that short movie. I thought it was really good.
It was a really good short film.
Yes. Also Auditorium 6, which I did not see, but it looked kind of corny, actually. Which, it kind of looked like that was the... It kind of looked like that was the point of it, from what I saw from the trailers, that, it's kind of funny. Oh, it's supposed to be kind of goofy and tongue-in-cheek. But I saw the trailer, I'm like, this looks kind of weird. Like, the acting just seems off, and also the part where Matt Brando just goes, I fucking knew it! It made me audibly laugh. Like, I was like... Yeah. I love that.
It intentionally feels like a parody.
Yeah, and I'm like, I it must be either A, it's a parody, or B, it is not. It's not well made, and I'm hoping it's the former. I have not seen Auditorium 6, so I can't comment. But yeah, I love that. I fucking knew it. And he just like grabs his head. It's so funny. Oh my god.
The thing I love about those two short films is that they feel like Chris Stuckman short films.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah, I know. I'm still laughing about it. Oh god. Oh, it's coming out in 2023, possibly. Oh my god. Why does God have to torture me? I forgot he's not doing Hilariosities anymore, but it's like, oh.
Man, yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I did quite enjoy the Hilariosities.
Yeah. Erotica, The Fanatic, Catwoman.
But he has been making some interesting videos, like filmmakers who inspired him. I'm like, it's very good. Even though I still disagree with him about M. Night Shyamalan, even though I do really enjoy Unbreakable. I do think that is a legitimately excellent movie. And Sixth Sense, which is also good. But from like Signs On, it's kind of an up and down journey.
Yep. Very tumultuous relationship with Shyamalan. Yeah, that's one of the very few things with stuff that I disagree with him on.
I gave up after Glass. Like, I'll just put it that way. I'm like, I am never seeing another movie this guy's making again. Like, I thought, like, Split got me excited again. And then I saw Glass. And Glass is just the biggest fuck you I have ever seen in a movie. And yeah, I'm like, fuck this. I am not watching another one of his movies.
Because with Split, I was like, yay, he's making good movies again. Maybe he's finally gonna make more films like Unbreakable or The Sixth Sense. No, he gave us Glass and Old, which sucked, by the way.
And Glass, I watched it, I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of good. And then that fucking twist ending, oh my god, just the biggest fuck you to the whole audience I have ever seen. To the point, I wanna erase that film from my memory. Fucking hate that movie. I don't hate it, but... Okay, maybe hate is too strong of a word. It is a massive letdown. Yeah. I'll put it that way. That's a better way to put it.
It's not a bad movie by any means. It's just extremely underwhelming.
It's one of those, the endings ruined it. It was pretty good up to the moment where the movie ended.
Yep.
And it's just like, dude, you gotta stop with the twists. It's so trite at this point. And then I was actually getting into it, and then when he pulled the twist, I'm like, oh, fuck. This is so stupid.
I was like, oh my god. Like, Jesus.
I don't even want to know about Old. I didn't even see it. I'm like, I am tired of playing this fucking carrot and stick game with M. Night Shyamalan. Not doing it anymore. So, I haven't seen any of his movies since. But I will say, Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, The Visit, and Split, all four are very good films.
Oh, yeah.
I still think they are good movies. I still they did not ruin my... I will not say that Glass ruined my viewing of those films. Well, maybe a little bit for Unbreakable and Split, but I do still like those movies. I'm not letting Glass break that experience. I enjoy those two movies.
No. Oh yeah, Unbreakable, still my favorite M. Night Shyamalan. Sixth Sense, right behind it. Split, yeah, Village, but he's also made some real stinkers. Last Airbender, After Earth, but yeah.
Oh my God, you've seen After Earth?
God, I think it. No, on it, like, I don't know, cause like I hate Last Airbender, but After Earth was just so abysmal. Like, it's hard to tell. Like, it's hard for me to confirm like which one's my least favorite M. Night Shyamalan. They're both so fucking bad.
Oh my God, the moment when Will Smith just slams his fist on the table and he's like, "Sit down!" It's so hilarious. You're just like, this is not Will Smith at all. This is so weird. Like, what is this?
God, I dread the day we'll talk about that.
Oh my God. It's so... Is it up there with Shark Tale and films you dread talking about?
Yeah, like this, Shark Tale, Four Stick, Last Airbender, Avatar, just to name a few films.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm dreading Avatar as well. I don't want to talk about Avatar.
Ugh, God.
Ugh. I've never had a kidney stone, but if I ever have, it might be like Avatar. I'm just saying, I fucking hate that movie. Oh yeah, Rise of Skywalker. Ugh. I'm not looking forward to talking about that.
Or The King's Man.
Oh my God. Oh. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, this movie's bad. Like, there's good things in it, but God, this movie's so bad.
Yeah, like, I watched it again on TV, and I dislike it more. Like, it's so bad.
It's so bad. It's, oh, God. I decided to, like, because I've taken my dad to some films I knew he probably wasn't going to like,
yeah.
Uncut Gems or, The Green Knight. He did not like The Green Knight. Spoilers. Or Annihilation. He didn't really care for that one. And we had to see it twice because the theater screen went out. I felt bad for him. But, I'm like, you know what? I'll repay the favor. I think The King's Man looks stupid. But you know what? I'll watch it because my dad wants to see it. Then we walked out of the theater. My dad's like, well, that was stupid.
I rewatched funny we brought up The King's Man. I recently went back and rewatched the Lighthouse episode, which was a lot of fun. And when we were kind of having a little discussion about The King's Man, I was like, I was laughing at Tyke's like reaction. He's like, "Oh my God, that film is terrible."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was talking to him about it. I'm like, dude, I had to go see it in theaters, and
And knowing Tyke, I knew he would probably hate it, and yeah, he did. And I don't blame you. That movie is, it's like fucking dumpster
just
fire.
The most. Let's put 21st century ideas and thought process into the 20th century, and there you go. It's just the most egregious example of that.
I thought the first time I saw it, I was like, this movie sucks. It's not good. But seeing it a second time, I was like, this movie's horrible. It's fucking bad.
I mean, the only things I like is that I like Ralph Fiennes. There are some scenes that are pretty charming, like when he strangles the lady, he's like, oh no, she's not dead, but she has like a case of apraxia. Like, that's funny. Like, the bit when he mourns his son, that's kind of sad. The action scenes aren't bad at all. And the way they played with the historical stuff, I really liked. Aside from that, movie's awful. Just cliched, churned. And, I was having a debate with a friend of mine the other day about superhero films, and he called, and he's not a big fan of superhero movies, even though he's a comics writer and artist, but, I digress. Not every comics person has to like superheroes, that's fine. But he called the MCU, he called it corporate slop, and that had me laughing, because, he's one of those guys, and I'm like, that made me laugh. Okay, you know what? Let me tell you, fucking The King's Man, that's corporate slop. Okay, Four Stick, Bloodshot, which I didn't even bother to see because I knew it was going to be bad. Though that's cinematic slop. Like, or that's corporate bullshit. But I digress.
Yeah. Kingsman, talk about a contrived movie.
Oh, it's so... He's like, I don't want to send you to war. It's like, I don't care about any of this. Like, why did they make this movie?
You know, when we talk about the Kingsman, we're getting Tygon.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm just like, we're gonna rip into this movie. You're gonna like it.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. I would love to rip that film a new one day.
Oh, God. Oh my god. I hate that movie. It's so bad. Ugh. I gave it 2.5 stars, and I probably keep it because I'm like, that's like my, it's almost good, but it's bad for the most part. And that's still pretty much, but when I think about it, I'm still kind of mixed about it, but I still lean on the negative. Like, it is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination.
No, talk about falling hard, Matthew Vaughn. Like, come on.
Like, I had a buddy, like, my buddy gave it 4 stars, or he gave it like 8 stars out of 10. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Were you high when you saw the movie? Like, I legit asked. He didn't respond, but I'm like, are you fucking high? That movie was awful.
God.
It's so bad. Oh, God. Oh, God. Ugh. Jesus Christ. It's not good.
It's not. It's such an abysmal film.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I saw... yeah. The Kingsman, it exists. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, it's a
like,
film that shouldn't have exist, but it does.
The first 2 films were fine. Like, they were good.
Yeah, like the first Kingsman, I love.
I mean,
like, I love
the second one's a little ridiculous, but it's still a fun movie. This one just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, The Golden Circle was decent at best. It was still a fun movie, though. But as a film, it was decent. It was okay. But The Kingsman is just utter trash.
Oh my god, yeah. It was just... it's so... Ugh, enough on that. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all Chris didn't talk about it, because I'm sure he probably would have not liked it.
Oh, yeah. I think he did like it, because, like, he said he would distance himself from film criticism, and I'm like, certain films that he didn't talk about, like The Kingsman, I'm sure he didn't like.
Oh, boy. Alright, so we're at the end of the episode. Jacob, did you have any ideas? I know you said you were busy, but do you have any ideas for this week's episode?
You know what? I've actually gotten a shit ton of requests about one film. It's like, where are you going to review this film? Where are you going to review this film? Like, I've gotten blasted. I was like...
Oh, no. What movie is it?
Sorry to do this to you, Britton, but, The Batman.
The Batman? Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I actually it's funny. I was watching The Lighthouse, I was on the Lighthouse the other day, and some guy's like, when you guys covering The Batman? I'm like... I kind of want to savor the taste a little bit. Just like... Before I, talk about it. But you know what? I wouldn't mind talking about The Batman. I really enjoyed that movie. Spoilers alert.
This might kind of force us both to see it again.
Yeah, it's like, I kind of wanted to see it again before I made my thoughts clear. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week. I'll be fucking busy. But, I will do my research on it and remember all my blurb thoughts and see if I like it more. But The Batman, huh?
Yes, sir.
I guess it's appropriate because I guess it's appropriate because we were gonna see it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, my initial film was North of the North.
Oh my God, no! Oh.
Don't worry. Don't mark my words. Spoilers. I'm gonna choose that for whenever it's my turn to pick again.
Oh God!
I was like, I you know what? I want to have fun on here. And I would have loved to see Brit's reaction when I brought up that film.
Oh, that movie's like I get the shits when I think about that movie. Oh God. All right.
But I've gotten blasted. I was like, "Where are you guys reviewing the Batman? Like, where's your Batman review?" I'm like, "Oh my God, this is overwhelming." So
we're gonna do the Batman. All right, I'm fine with that. Oh, jeez. Oh God. All right. Collateral though was very fun to talk about. I had a good time.
Oh yeah, I had a great time talking
about it. Tom Cruise, very good. Anyways, I've been Britton.
And I've been Jacob.
And we do it for the love of the movies.
Yes, we do.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.